50 in Detroit, WWJ at 4:32, and as you just heard, the Mueller investigation found that no member of the Trump campaign or administration colluded with Russia during the election process, but the president was not exonerated either. Director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University, Dave Dulio, joining us now. We thank you, Dave, for being a part of our show this afternoon. Seems to me that the possibility of this opening up more doors exists than those doors closing, Dave.
Oh, Rob, I think you're 100% right on that. As the CBS News report said, both sides are going to be able to find something in this letter that the Attorney General sent to the congressional leaders today that fits what they want to be able to say and fits what they want to be able to do. The White House has already come out and said this is a complete exoneration. Some Democratic members of the House, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee in particular, Jerry Nadler, has said that it doesn't exonerate him. It is very, very likely, certain, I would say, to lead to more investigation, and the cloud remains over the White House.
Don't you think that after almost 2 years, not that anybody really wanted to have a president who was guilty of collusion, but don't you find it odd that after almost 2 years, you get the report that comes in that says no evidence of committing a crime, but not an exoneration either? Isn't that pretty much straddling the fence?
Well, I think we have to take a look at what the letter says, and I read it as coming in two parts. And the first one is really about the first part is focused on the Russia collusion question, and that part is very clear, at least the way I read it. And it says the investigation did not establish that any member of the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government. Period. It's the second part of that letter. Summary letter from the Attorney General about alleged obstruction of justice or potential obstruction of justice, where it's squishier, and that the report from the special counsel says that while this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him. So that's what it's that last piece that the Democrats on the Hill are going to pick up on and use to continue to try and hound the president.
Do you find it odd that reports are that Mueller was not consulted by the Attorney General and his team?
Well, I think that's, to be honest with you, that's probably a question for an attorney. But I think, based on what I know about the special counsel and the special counsel statute, it is really just an investigative tool. Any charges or any indictments could also certainly come from the Department of Justice, which the Attorney General heads.
And, we talked to one of your counterparts at Eastern Michigan University earlier today, and our fear was all of this is going to happen, and we're really just going to come right back to where we were weeks ago. Do you think that's happened?
In some respects, yes. As I said, I think that there are pieces of this summary from the Attorney General that give both sides what they were looking for. I think I would probably agree with the statement from the CBS News special report before we started to talk that says the Trump folks are going to have more to be happy with than his opponents. I think, but we can't overlook the fact that there is that little kernel that gives Democrats on the Hill something to latch onto and is going to let them continue to try to hound the White House.
And this report has nothing to do with other federal investigations that are ongoing.
Right. There are other federal investigations that are legal in some respects, and there are other federal investigations that are political. And that's another thing that I think we really have to note is legality and crimes. Those are legal fights, right? We also have a much broader, much more expansive political fight when we start to get into Democrats on Capitol Hill investigating the White House and or the president, and what that could mean for impeachment proceedings down the road.
Dave Dulio, Director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University. We always appreciate your input on matters like this. I'm sure we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Take care.
WWJ News Time, 4:36, traffic and weather.